Rwandan human rights lawyer Dr. Etienne Mutabazi joins us now for some insights into his verdict. He worked at the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, the ICTR, in Arusha in Tanzania, which tried genocide perpetrators. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, and welcome to the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Peter, for inviting me.
All right, so your reaction to the trial and the sentence?
You've said it, it's a shame trial because we all know that Rusesabagina was abducted from the United Arab Emirates and they brought it to Rwanda in violation of all legal decency. So that he has now been sentenced to any terms of imprisonment does not mean any sense, because for us, there was no trial, meaning that Rusesabagina could have been arrested either in Belgium or in the United States where he was a permanent resident, or in Belgium where he was a citizen. Nothing was done. Rwanda could also have cooperated with the United Arab Emirates to legally arrest Rusesabagina if any charges was leveled against him. Nothing of that has been done. We have assisted to contradiction between the President of the Republic, Mr. Paul Kagame. We heard the Director of National Intelligence, Major General Joseph Nzabamwita. We heard what Jean Ruhunga, the Chief of Rwanda Investigation Bureau, said. We heard Dr. Murangira, who is the spokesperson of the Rwanda Investigation Bureau, said all those statements from senior officials of the government was nothing but contradictory. So now that we have a verdict in which Rusesabagina did not participate, he did not participate in his trial, that's what we call a sham trial. And again, Peter, in dictatorship, this always happens. You are interviewing me from South Africa. This used to happen during the apartheid era.
All right, so did you follow the trial and did you hear the evidence that was presented? The government spokesperson yesterday said that there was overwhelming evidence that they had managed to get, in cooperation with Belgian authorities, communications between Mr. Rusesabagina and the FLN military wing.
Yes, I did. I at least heard to what I am called key witnesses. One is Dr. Michel from the United States. There is another so-called associate of Rusesabagina. And within their co-accused, there was one in Sabimana Karikst, Araya Sankala, and there was one pastor who ruled Rusesabagina. Let me point to those three. So if you were to start by the bishop, which character would you give to a trial where the accused has been ruled to be arrested where he was arrested? So you heard the President Kagame say this was a flawless process. Where else in the world have you heard of a country, a sovereign country, going to abduct and kidnap the citizen of another country? In this particular case, Mr. Rusesabagina, a Belgian citizen, permanent resident of the United States, kidnapped in United Arab Emirates, brought to Kigali, in what the former Minister of Justice, Johnson Busingye, acknowledged the government paid for the aircraft that brought Rusesabagina from Dubai to Kigali. That in itself is enough to say there was no decency in terms of legal procedure. In a criminal trial, we have two aspects. There's the aspect of procedure and the substance. Substance, the government of Rwanda was claiming that Rusesabagina was suspected of being involved in some criminal activity. It was upon to them to prove it. But coming back to the process used to arrest and, in fact, get hold of him, that's where we said there is no trial. Because if one of those process is defective, then there is no process. But again, Kagame, upon the arrest of Rusesabagina, said this man has blood on his hands, then the justice must take its course. It is like an injunction, an order from the top of the Rwanda hierarchy to say Rusesabagina must be found guilty as accused.
All right, so you have a problem with process for sure. Let's talk about the actual crimes, inverted commas. So do we agree that the FLN did perpetrate those attacks in 2018, 2019 that left a number of people dead, including children? Is that established, or is that still also in doubt?
It is in doubt because we have all that we have is claims. The Rwandan government claimed there have been attacks.
Right.
So they could have taken time to bring persuasive, convincing evidence in a proper legal process, because if we are talking of process to be a foundation of the substance of the claim you are making in a criminal trial, then you need to respect those processes. If we were to go today to Rwanda, and we will find a criminal code with a substantive law that provide for punishment, for crime punishment, and things of that nature. Oh. But we also have a criminal code of procedure. Okay. Why do we have those?
Right. I don't want to beholden the point of the procedure, because I think you've already pointed out that procedure was not followed in your respect. But what I'm trying to establish is, was there an attack, or is the identity of the attackers in question? Are you saying there was no attack at all?
Those are claims that could have been proven in the court of law. And we are saying this stage was not reached at all, because they said, we have our men, we will make sure that that we prove him guilty as charged. So I do not want to indulge into something that did not happen, that we call it a premature. We are not assuming here. If we are in court, we need to prove our claim. So no claim was proven. The only foundation was to say Rusesabagina is in the front of us. Our task is to find him guilty as charged, because the president has instructed us to find him guilty.
There are reports that he admitted to funding the FLN. Does that not make him an associate of whatever the FLN have done?
I would be happy if you could quote one of those reports you are alluding to.
All right. So this is what we were hearing from the government spokesperson yesterday.
No, Mr. Peter, we cannot go by the hearsay. We are dealing with a government which is what can I say? Which is doing whatever it wants, and we are repeating it in our international arena, and we take it as if it were true. So, as a journalist, you said they were report. You did not quote any single report to put it in front of me and say, this report was drafted by so-and-so, and actually it proves that Rusesabagina was involved. We don't have such in front of us.
All right, so for 6 months, are we saying that the courts heard manufactured evidence? Is that where we're at then? That's
exactly what we say, because I've mentioned the bishop who appeared to have ruled Rusesabagina into the trap that brought him to Rwanda. We saw an American lady whom I would refer to as a mercenary, because this was an acquaintance of Paul Kagame. You have pictures of that particular individual by the time she was recruited to follow up on Rwandan exile in the United States, and follow them, and in fact conduct a kind of intelligence on their back and feed it to the Rwandan intelligence detail. We have other people who pretend to be Rusesabagina's associate. Beyond that, we have nothing. Meaning that the prosecutor has a burden to prove the guilt of an accused beyond a reasonable doubt. And what we assist to, that is far away from what I have already stated.
I put a question through to the government spokesperson yesterday that critics of the government say that the Rwandan government is intolerant of criticism and political dissent. Has that been your experience? I know that you are connected to the Rwanda National Congress, which is an opposition group.
I am not connected to Rwanda National Congress. I am a member, I am a leader. In the organization, I am actually its spokesperson, and I'm very proud of it. It's not a connection, it's just a membership. And to say that Rwanda has always, since Kagame ascended to power in 1994, in fact, he was at the time President Bizimungu, but we know for sure that he did not have power until 2000, when he was just put aside and eventually jailed for a long time. And we have Madame Victor Ingabire, who tried to compete with Kagame. She was sent to jail for 15 years, which were later brought to 8 years. We have Miss Diana Rwigara, who tried her best to compete. Her sister and mother were sent to jail while their property was sold. They are still selling their properties in a very illegal fashion. We have other people like Gilbert Mwenedata who tried to compete with Kagame. Nothing happened. We have had every single opportunity to play the democratic game in Rwanda, but Kagame did not allow it. His security apparatus did not allow it. And that's what we are having now, where they are using the judicial route to just keep everyone to challenge the current situation in a democratic way.
All right, Dr. Rusesabagina, I think we probably need to have a number of conversations going forward, but thank you so much indeed for joining us this evening and giving us some insights on another view of what happened yesterday. Thank you so much.
Most appreciated, Peter. Thank you.
All right, that's the spokesperson of the Rwanda National Congress, an opposition party in Rwanda, and they were saying that, look, this political trial, this trial was a sham, it was not real, and so the guilty verdict of 25 years against Mr. Rusesabagina is a sham. All right, and that's